Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Allison Turner. I am the founder of Batcat Media Group, which is home to my two brands, Dream Plan Start Grow and The Allison Turner. I wanted to jump on today because my AC unit at my office is currently just blowing warm air, which is always pleasant. And it's 92 degrees outside in Florida, which I thought was kind of interesting that we're in mid-October and it's 92 degrees. But so what do AC units going out have to do with your company or your business? And I think we can liken a lot of things as metaphors in life. And I was thinking about, it hasn't really bothered me. Now I can work from a home office. I could go to a cafe. I can work from kind of wherever. And I worked here briefly yesterday. I'm in here today for a little while. And then I'm actually doing a webinar later tonight here, which is fine because my Wi-Fi is a little bit better here than at my house for live streaming and video and things like that. But the important thing that is key is you have to be able to adapt. And I think, in this instance, obviously instead of wearing a jacket, I'm wearing a shorter sleeve shirt while I'm in here because it's a little warm. So things like that, which are just simple ways I've adapted to the AC being out, but it's also preparing for the unexpected. So I certainly wasn't expecting my AC to be kind of on the fritz right now and blowing warm air. It is blowing, but it's just blowing warm air. But how do you prepare for the unexpected in business? And I think we just got a taste of that in the last 3.5 years when the pandemic hit in March of 2020. Because some businesses weren't prepared for the unexpected, or some businesses, the government stepped in and provided the two types of, not loan. Well, one was a loan, and then one was helping you cover your payroll and keep your people employed. So things like that happened, but some people didn't even take advantage of it. They could have taken advantage of it. And you had to be kind of on top of things to make sure you were taking advantage of it if you needed it and you needed that assistance. But preparing for the unexpected, in this instance, my AC going out, I have reached out to a service company. Hopefully they can come tomorrow. I was trying a couple of things first before I called the service company in, just to see if it was the filter or the, turn it off, turn it on, those types of things. But prepare for the unexpected, keep moving forward, be nimble and be able to adjust. So in business, you have to be able to adjust and you have to be quick about adjusting. And I think smaller companies, I'm really referencing the small business side, are able to do that. These big, huge, large companies, it's a little tougher because you have to, like, a bunch of people have to adjust, right? And have to make the adaptations that you're asking for. And sometimes your stockholders have to, if you're a publicly traded company, they have to approve like major adjustments and things like that. But we as small business owners have to be able to adjust and adjust quickly. So when you see something happening, figure out, okay, this is what it is right now. What do I need to do something different? What do I need to do to make this happen? So I think that's a key piece is like, what do we do when something like the pandemic happens, or, you enter a recession, or, like whatever the case is, I live in Florida, so we're in hurricane season right now. A major hurricane hits, and that's a little bit tougher because that can completely interrupt you if it hits your building and you lose your building, in your restaurant, for example. I mean, that happened over on the West Coast last year, where all these restaurants got decimated because the building had damage. They weren't able to reopen. There was no bridge going over to Sanibel. So even if they could reopen, there was no bridge to going to Sanibel. So you're not getting any customers. They weren't allowing people except for people that lived over there to handle any of that. So those are the types of questions I'm having you look at in your business. And you can't do anything about a hurricane hitting. So you have to figure out, like, what do I need to do first? And that's an extreme example. So most of the time we're not dealing with like a major hurricane hitting. So that's a really extreme example. But, a few things that are really key are financial stability. So when your company has the finances to cover things. So, when something goes wrong, maybe you have an off month or an off couple of months or an off quarter, you lose a big client and you're trying to figure out where to make that income up. Something that'll give you that sense of like, okay, I can float this for the next couple of months. You could have a line of credit. You could have money in the bank. I mean, there's so many different ways you can look at that, but those are just a couple of examples. And why that's good is, when disaster, something bad happens, you want to keep your employee morale up, right? If you have employees, even if you have contractors, and keeping them up means like, hey, my job is safe. Your job is safe. I mean, think of how many people got laid off last year, or not last year, 3.5 years ago, sorry, when the pandemic happened. How many people got laid off and they had to figure out like, what is that next step? And what do I need to do now? And I think that's critical because, as a business owner, we face those hard decisions. And if you have to make those decisions, you have to make those decisions. But trying to do what's absolutely best for your company and what's best, and you're looking at the employees. And I think most of us as business owners don't want to ever, lay someone off per se, but sometimes you don't have a choice. And that's the challenge. So you have to be ready to make those hard decisions. And then really looking at operational continuity in your business. So when something happens, my AC goes out. So I'm in my office right now. I'm not going to be here all afternoon. I'm going to come back for my webinar that I'm hosting tonight. But I can come in and out, call the service company, get them scheduled, and adjust and do what I need to do. So I'm still operating. What becomes harder is if you're say a restaurant, or you are a business, like a factory kind of business, or something, you're producing something, that becomes harder if you have an operational issue, meaning that you can't get into your building for whatever reason, or people, in the pandemic case, which is the most recent thing, that people weren't allowed to be together. So how do you continue operating a business like that? A service-based business like my own, I can operate from anywhere. I don't need to be in this space, and I don't need my team to be in this space with me. And so that's what makes it a little bit different. And I think the last thing I want to talk about is competitive advantage. So when you're able to make those adjustments quickly, so when something happens, it could be losing a big client. It could be, maybe you're not getting the big client that you thought was signed and sealed, and it just never got delivered. Whatever that is, when you're able to adjust quickly, your employees see that, everyone sees that, and it really gives you a competitive advantage over other companies. Think about, again, like the example is like the restaurant industry that really got hit hard with the pandemic, especially in certain states got hit harder than maybe we did. But even here, it got hit hard because they were only allowed to reopen at like half capacity when they got to be able to reopen. And then some of them, if we were in season, which we were at the very tail end of our season down here, weren't able to operate at full capacity. And sometimes they account on those funds to carry them through the short, the summer and the off season. So having the backup funds, being able to continue to operate. So, a lot of them, where takeout wasn't a huge business of theirs, actually started promoting takeout a lot more. Things like that then give you that competitive advantage when you're able to adjust quickly, make those decisions quickly, and, really embrace what's going on, but not embrace from, it's not a positive thing, but really embrace that, hey, we are where we are, and we need to adjust quickly so we stay afloat and we come out even better on the other side. So today, I encourage you to look at, when something happens in your life, just something like, your AC goes out, instead of complaining about it, because it is what it is. So I'm trying to figure out what are my decisions I need to make and adjustments I need to make to improve the situation. But then I can go work from somewhere else, or I can do I have choices I can make very quickly as opposed to complaining about the situation. So same thing in business. Something happens in your business. You lose a big client. You don't get a big contract. the pandemic hits, recession, all those things that we keep hearing, all the negative crap that goes on all the time. It is what it is, but we as small business owners have to adjust and come out better on the other side. And when you are able to do that, like you're able to adjust quickly, you're able to be nimble, you have that financial stability to back yourself up, that helps increase the employee morale. So if you have that team, they know their jobs are safe, hopefully, you're able to continue to operate. And then ultimately it's going to bring you that advantage over some other companies that maybe can't do that. So thank you everyone for jumping on here today. And think about, I'm going to give you one last task. Think about that thing that has come up in your life. Could be your AC going out, could be your car broke down, something like that. And how you treated the situation, how you adjusted quickly. And if you're in business, think about how that likens to business, because it really is the same thing. When we are a business owner, we have to be ready to adjust quickly and figure things out quickly and what our options are. And all of life really, it's like that metaphor for business, and vice versa. Business can be a metaphor for life. So thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you again soon online. Bye for now.